Hello and welcome to another exciting installment of Bee Things. Hey guys, so this is my 13th video. It's really awesome. I mean, seriously, did you see the opening with all the scary turning chairs and laughing and stuff? It's maniacally great. You know, I just noticed that this X-Men book is volume 14. I have volume 12, I have volume 14, but I don't have volume 13. If anyone can find volume 13 of Ultimate X-Men, you'd be my best friend for like 5 minutes, and then I'd finish reading it. Now, in honor of my 13th video, I thought I'd do something that I sort of enjoy watching other people do. Google Autofill. Now, if you're familiar with Super Carlin Brothers, you probably know this game. Basically, the idea is that you type a question into Google and then add each letter of the alphabet afterwards in sequence. So you have like, is blank A, is blank B? And that's what we're going to do today. Of course, now you're probably wondering, what is the question that Brian is going to ask Google? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I have an excellent question idea. Now, because this is my 13th episode, and 13 is often associated with like scary or unlucky things, and because I'm mildly obsessed with vampires of the non-sparkly variety, I figured that my question today is, are vampires Google autofill? Let's begin. One moment as I load. So for A, we have the excellent question, are vampires alive or dead? Well, that's an easy one. They're both. Now, you see, vampires are this thing known as undead, which means that they are no longer alive. They don't breathe or really need any normal things for living. But at the same time, they're not like dead in the ground not doing anything. They're dead, moving around, talking, drinking your blood, and making things generally awesomely miserable. Basically, vampires are often described as being the bodies of dead people that have been possessed by a demon, or alternatively, it's just that they are a soulless version of that being with special vampire powers. B, are vampires bats? No. See, there are vampire bats, and you definitely have some vampires like Dracula who are able to turn into bats and they fly around, blah, blah, blah. But you don't really have vampires in general running around being bats for the sake of being bats. That is present in some forms of vampire mythology, but it's not like a universal thing like the blood drinking stuff is. So, yeah. C, are vampires cold-blooded? I mean, technically they're always at room temperature since they don't really have blood circulation unless they've recently fed or something, but that's a good question. Google, you confused the pedant. How dare you? D, are vampires demons? Yes. E, are vampires evil? Yes. Mostly. Sometimes. I mean, obviously you have like Dracula and people like that who are clearly evil, but then you also have characters like Angel, who is perfectly good, and characters like Stefan in Vampire Diaries, or Spike occasionally in Buffy, and yeah, they're not evil. They're just sort of there. They usually seem to be very good at the whole moping thing, but I think that's mostly just, yeah. Except for Spike, all of the good vampires are mopey little butts. Interesting. Mopey butt vampires. G, are vampires gay? Well, I mean, they can be. It's entirely their business, and they have every right to be who they need to be. We should not judge vampires, largely because if we judge them, they might eat us. H, seriously? Vampires are not human. they are vampires. Also, to answer the second question, yes. Are vampires immortal? Yes. To a degree. Vampires are immortal in the sense that they don't just die of natural causes usually. However, there are many, many ways to kill vampires, which are listed right here. Oh, it's done. So I'm going to go with the third question here for Jay, which is, are vampires Jewish? And I would say yes, because there's one episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer where they go to an alternate dimension and Willow is a vampire and Willow is Jewish. And so I imagine that vampires can be Jewish. At the same time, though, vampires shun religious symbols and stuff, so they might still not be huge fans of any religion, including Judaism. But I'd say that if a vampire wanted to be Jewish, that they could. K. Are vampires killed by silver? Yeah, vampires are often said to have some kind of silver allergy. This isn't present in every version of vampires. For example, Anne Rice books tend to say that, oh, religious symbols and silver, those don't affect you, but a lot of other versions do have those sorts of rules, so it's all sort of up in the air. Are vampires lactose intolerant? I mean, I don't know. They drink blood? M. Are vampires monsters? I would say no, because I sort of want to say that since vampires are demons, they are a little higher up there on the evil creatures scale than monsters. I mean, I'd say a werewolf is a monster, certainly, but a vampire, unless they're like a total asshole, no. N. Are vampires nocturnal? I mean, if I burned up in the sunlight, I'd probably only go out at night, too. Oh, are vampires OCD? I mean, they seem to have a pretty singular purpose. Especially the ones that just count all day. 1 vampire, 2 vampires, 3 vampires, So, yes. P. Are vampires paranormal? I mean, everybody can be paranormal if they're weird enough. Q makes no sense. No, vampires are not real. They are fictional, legendary, mythological creatures that people really like to write books and make movies about. S. Are vampires scared of garlic? Sometimes. Yes. The problem is that so many of these shows and movies like to make it so that it's like, oh no, we don't have that vampire weakness, because that makes it so that we're just falling for all of the normal legend stuff, and we want to differentiate ourselves from all the other vampires that don't have those particular vampire weaknesses. So, yeah, I mean, vampires should be afraid of garlic. I mean, do you ever see Italian vampires? No. Because vampires can't eat garlic. They shun it. They're afraid of it. Just, ugh. Are vampires true? Well, I haven't seen it, but I hear there's a show called True Blood. U. Are vampires undead? Seriously? You didn't watch me do that whole rambling spiel about undeadness and stuff for A? Come on, Google. Pay attention to the videos that haven't been put up on YouTube yet. V. I literally already answered this. Actually, I've answered all of these questions. W. Are vampires weak to water? I mean, no. Well, oh, like holy water? Yes. Other water? No. Nothing for X and Y, and then Z has, are vampires zombies? To which I say, no, no, no. Zombies are horrible, stupid wastes of time. They're creepy and awful. Ugh, I hate zombies. Vampires are awesome. Never, ever, ever confuse vampires with zombies. And that's it for today. Like, subscribe down below, and if you have any interesting things you have to say about vampires, or you just sort of have an idea for a future Google autofill type thing, mention it down in the comments below. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to Disney World. Be seeing you! My brother's weird clock was just going off.